Hello fellow space bastards, this is Damage Control, and today we're going to be looking at bots, specifically faction warfare bots, LP farmers and how to farm them. If you're not sure what faction warfare is and how it currently works, there are a load of good guys out there explaining this, so maybe go and have a look at those first and come back and check this out. And if you're still here, I'm going to assume that you know the basics of plexing, loyalty points and such like, so without further ado, let's ask the main question: what is a faction warfare bot? Now, I don't want to go into too much detail here, I don't want to advertise to people how to get these up and running, of course, but at a basic level, a bot is a program that runs alongside the EVE client. It'll run a script. In the case of faction warfare, the script sends a ship into a plex to farm LP. Now, the great thing about this is that it's predictable and it's easy to break, which we are going to be doing today. So if you're unsure whether you found a bot or not, just pull up Z Killboard, pop its name in, and let's look at our example bots here. Yabao Sebezan. And yeah, well, that's a hell of a lot of red. In fact, this particular bot has 411 deaths to its name. We can see that it's still active today. And it began its cursed, pitiful existence about, let's have a look, about 6 weeks ago. Now, I have personally reported this bot every time I've encountered it. They do get banned, so rule number one, report those bots. I'll show you how to do that a little bit later on. I'm going to be talking about bots that do offensive flexing from the perspective of the Amar Minmatar conflict, as I'm part of the Amar militia. The faction warfare bot will fly destroyer and do small and sometimes medium plexes. So let's look at the fitting for old Yabal here. He's flying a coercer. He has a full rack of small beams, heat sinks in the lows, some fitting mods, and it's basically just enough DPS to take out the NPCs that spawn in the plexes. A little upvote there. And they usually drop somewhere in the region of 1 million in loot. But that is not the reason that we are here. Now, this information, it's purely observational, so I may be wrong about some of this, but it seems pretty effective. Maybe if some of those bot users out there can leave a comment telling me how wrong I am at the bottom, that would just be lovely. Now, a bot will arrive in system. Look for a open small plex, warp at 0, and enter. If there is anything on D-scan within 0.5 AU of the plex, it will walk to a gate and continue its route. Once the plex is complete, it'll sit there until its shields have recharged and then warp off. So let's use this information, shall we, to kill a bot. To do this, we need a faster landing ship with a high warp speed and a fast locking speed. I use an executioner, but any ship fit like this should work just as well. What is important is an align time under 2 seconds. Here we have 1.65 and a fast warp speed. 7 AU a second on this one, which we are achieving with 2 small hyperspatial velocity optimizers, 1 low friction nozzle joint, and a full set of inertial stabilizers in the lows. Then we want a quick lock time, so we're using a sensor booster with a scan resolution script, and for weapons we want something with a bit of range. DPS is kind of irrelevant. I'm using dual light beam lasers here, 2. They are hitting out to 24 kilometers, as long as you can keep the bot at warp disruption range and kill it. That's the main thing. We have no tank, as the bot won't fight back. We just have to be aware of other players that may come in and want to take you on, but you'll be able to align and warp out before they can lock you. This certainly isn't a PvP ship, however, it would be viable for an alpha, so you could do this on an alpha account if you would like. Let's give this a try, shall we? So I've speeded up the footage here just to save you on a bit of time. So we jump into system and we have located our bot. There's at least 1 small plex. Normally I would have descanned the plex to find out which street was in, or if the human was in there running it. In this case, the system was empty. And only 1 small plex in there anyway. So the idea is to warp to it, and enter to move the bot out. You don't want to fight inside a Plex, as it's much easier to catch them and lock them on the outside. So using the track target function, we can see where it warps off to. And in this case it was a gate cluster, so I used dscan again to find out which one it exited at, and then followed it until it found another Plex. Now it may take a couple of systems until it finds a small Plex. A small tip here is, as you're warping, doing a patrol maybe, you can open up those small Plexes. Maybe save yourself a bit of time down the line. Now the idea is to go through the gate, hold your cloak until it chooses which Plex it's going to warp to, if there is one. Then warp to the range that is right for your weapons. In this case I go to 10. Currently the bots that are out there always warp to 0. Activate your sensor booster while you're warping in. This is why we have the fast warp, the fast align time, so you land about the same time as the bot does, and you can lock it up before it takes the gate. So that's all there is to it. Now you kill this pathetic abomination, don't forget your trophy, and don't forget to report the bot. You can do that by clicking on the character's name in the kill report, and the burger menu in the top left, and click report bot. And it's as easy as that. So I would love it if anyone who uses this method or something similar drops a link to those kill mails down in the comments section. I do love to see a nice bot kill mail. So we come to the end. It's just one thing to remember: love computers and hate bots.